Hey everyone, thank you for joining the spaces. We will wait a few minutes for more audience to join. Today we have our partner SEAGEN here with us. We are going to discuss what they are building and we are going to give you a good introduction of their project. So, yes, stay tight. We are going to start the spaces very soon. So while we start the spaces, I would like to give you a small introduction about Swift blockchain. Swift blockchain is a cutting-edge global cryptocurrency cross-chain swap protocol powered by generative AI. Established in 2017, Swift blockchain has been at the forefront of innovation, seamlessly integrating blockchains, machine learning, and big data to enable direct swap between over 800 plus cryptocurrency on 50 plus blockchains. We have 6 plus years of experience in building best cross-chain swaps. We have a large selection of cryptocurrency, more than 40,000 swap pairs. 50 plus blockchains are supported. If you have Swift coin, you will get 50% off on the swap fees on the application. Their swaps are faster, they complete in less than a minute, and we have a 24/7 customer support as well. So if you are looking for a place to trade and buy cryptocurrency, please use Swift blockchain. So we have our guests with us right now. Hey Ted, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you doing, pal? Doing pretty good myself. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm good as well. It's great pleasure to have you over here. We are really excited to have partnered with you, and we are looking forward to this journey of ours. Uh, so, how is everything on your side? And so, before we start, going deep into the spaces and EMA, can you please introduce yourself? What has been your background, and how did you end up here?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. It's really a pleasure being on. Thank you so much for having me. I see some of the other team members are here as well at the minute. But look, just to give you a bit of background onto what SEAGEN is, and a bit about myself, first of all. So I'm actually a blockchain developer for about 2 or 3 years now. I've been doing just blockchain for a few years. I'm also an AI developer full time and have been a developer for about 5 years as well, and have quite a bit of a history in the space. So obviously, like I've quite a few dApps under my belt and a bit of experience doing some freelance work. So SEAGEN itself started off as a NFT utility application on Phantom blockchain called Nova Blocks. And effectively, what we did was we built the world's first ERC 1155 non-custodial staker, ERC 721 non-custodial staker, etc., etc. And we actually built quite a big following on Phantom completely organically. We had a lot of projects listed with us, and it was our main source of revenue and income. We actually never released a token over there because we never actually saw the need to. And eventually, towards the end, we decided to fund the project, but Phantom blockchain kind of started dying down. So we decided to move our utilities that we had in the pipeline over to Ethereum. So those utilities are AI-based NFT navigation and ERC20 navigation, and auditing. Effectively started off as a product called Seafair, which basically helped you to find good trades on the NFT marketplace on OpenSea. Problem with that is that NFTs, as much as a lot of people don't want to hear this, are kind of dead. Well, the market isn't where it used to be. Let's just be straight with it. So, we were developing that, and we decided to release it on Ethereum. And with that, we released a token to go with it as an ecosystem token. And that token was called Captain Cook, which was a meme coin, effectively, with some utility. It wasn't super serious branding, but it was a ways of facilitating our development and to help us build the projects, sustainably. And that went extremely successfully. So we had a 20x on the first day, and a week later we did a 22x. It was incredibly good price action, and the whole community was very satisfied with how it went. On top of that, we released our product Seafair, which was in beta release, and it never went out of beta because we realized that there was no real reason to allocate our resources to NFT utility at this current moment in time. So that's where SEAGEN came into play. So because we kind of discontinued development of NFT utility our NFT utility dApp, which incorporated AI to make price predictions, by the way, on NFTs. We discontinued that development. We decided to move over to ERC20 coins, so that'll be shit coins, because the market is a lot bigger there. It makes a lot more sense to try and create utility for active, basically degens and people that are into shitcoins and want to know information about what they're buying. And so the utility that we decided to go for is an NFT or ERC20 auditing tool called the Swamp. And the Swamp is actually going to be released. By the way, this wasn't announced in the Telegram or anything. This is the first time for me to actually give out this information. It's going to be released on Wednesday next week. Effectively, what it does is it gets token information and displays it to a user before a token is launched or while the token is launched. It gets basically tells you if the token's a honeypot, holder information, wash trading information, blacklist information, everything else. And on top of that, well, we plan to integrate a price prediction into it. So for any token that's older than 30 days old, we will be able to predict a price for the next 24 hours of trades for that particular token with our AI model that we effectively just brought across from Seafair. That AI model was never integrated into Seafair for open beta users, purely because it was too resource intensive. And so we decided to just go straight away with the shitcoin utility dApp, which is now called SEAGEN. A bit about us ourselves as well. All our team are doxed. I know this shouldn't even be a selling point, but our team is doxed. I've done many interviews, many spaces as well. And we all are based in Ireland. So the core team, so that's Crisps, Dave, myself, and Adam as well as another developer who's been brought on board last week. All based in Ireland. All we all know each other, considerably well now. So that's a bit about the team, and we have a fairly long history of working together on different dApps and different projects, even outside of crypto, just even music and other businesses that we ventured on. So we do have quite a history together, and we do see this as our next, let's say, successful venture. So yeah, that's a bit about us, a bit of a nutshell.
Yeah, that's, I mean, thank you so much for sharing this, and congratulations on your product release next Wednesday. It's a good news. So yeah, awesome. Congratulations on that. So you have shared about your how you got here. But can you share a bit more about what was the vision behind SEAGEN? And what I mean by SEAGEN is that what market opportunity did you see that, where was the gap in the market that you see and felt, hey, the product that we are building over here would fit exactly in this segment or in this problem. So can you share about that vision or story behind it?
Absolutely. So that's actually a really great question, and I love sharing the story because it's brings back memories in some sense. So the very first product, as I said, was Nova Blocks, and the idea was to answer the long question, the old age question of how do I know what NFT to buy? And we believe that we did answer that to an extent. But with Seafair, that was the idea. We were trying to answer that question, and effectively it was discontinued because the NFT market was a bit broken. So now the question is, how do I know what shitcoin to buy when you're trading shitcoins? And effectively, we're trying to answer that question. And we're trying to answer that question not only with our utility, but also with the integration of AI tools. So it was originally supposed to be just an AI dApp that tells you price predictions, but now there's a little bit more to it. So now we actually are actually building a little AI model that effectively reads through contract information, gives a bit of a score on whether or not that contract is safe. It's also a great way of our current AI pipeline is also a great way of identifying token taxes and possibly modifiable functions that could potentially lead to honeypots or delayed honeypots. That is kind of our other AI side of integrations. But effectively, our vision is to try and create an easier route for people who are trying to get into their first or maybe last or maybe 100th or 50th trade in the space, and they don't really know what to do. So our plan is to simply release this dApp and have it as a hub for anybody who wants to try and get some information on a token. All the information. So give a bit of a rundown. Actually, when we first started building, we asked the community what they wanted to see, and one of our community members actually sent back a very comprehensive list So it started off with honeypots. Is the contract renounced? Is there liquidity locked? Is there taxes, total holders, maximum transactions, sniper status, previous contracts, warnings, and a clean looking chart. So these things are the very first things that you're going to see when we release on Wednesday. All of that information will be live. And personally, I believe that if I had this information before buying a token, I would save a lot of money. So, most of us have been scammed at some point by some dodgy contract. And it would have been great to have a tool like this in order to, mitigate that possibility. So that's kind of our vision, is to try and help people in general. Of course, there is going to be a subscription model eventually. So people that are holding our token, which released last week, we actually did a very successful raise. We had a soft cap and we did 6 times the soft cap. On launch, it didn't just completely dump. It actually did a 4x straight away, which was really, really nice. The first couple of hours were really, really clean looking chart, and the volume stayed pretty high. And basically, the main utility of that token that we released last week is to effectively give users access to our DApp and give premium benefits. So something like getting a price prediction, we're not going to have that out for free because it is quite resource intensive to run an AI model every single time somebody wants a price prediction. So you're going to have to be some kind of subscriber or hold some of our tokens in order to be able to access that feature. That on top of wash trading as well. Wash trading is very hard to scan. It takes a little bit of machine learning, takes a little bit of blockchain analysis. So we do want to have that as a paid feature too. So all of these things are all going to be kind of packaged up into a premium feature that any holder of the token can get access to. Tokens tokens at a really decent price right now. So if anyone isn't interested, they can check it out in our Telegram. But effectively, our vision is, to answer your question, is to just help users to get into trades and try and offer some kind of AI solution for them to be more confident in what they're buying. So effectively, that's our whole project and vision.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Now, there are two things that we know for sure, that there is blockchain involved and then there is AI involved, and you are doing a lot of great stuff with it. And those two technologies are, we can say, at the front of the world right now. Like, they are at the top of the most growing technology in terms of blockchain and AI. So as a leader in the field of blockchain and AI, what are your thoughts about mix of these two technologies? And we have seen some other products or other projects doing very similar things. How do you see your product being different, or what is like different from some of the other similar models or other similar things that we are seeing?
Very good question. Once again, I like it. So my thoughts about mixing blockchain and AI. Let's be real. We're not at a stage with AI where we can keep up with real-time blockchain data. So to kind of work around that for our DApp, for price predictions in particular, you're going to have a token that's been live for more than 30 days and reaches a specific volume threshold before you can make a prediction on it. Reason being is that real-time data is just not going to work with an AI stream. Look, we could set it up. An AI stream is definitely something we can set up that feeds in blockchain information and just makes predictions. But at that point, we're going to have a significant amount of funding to be able to facilitate that. And there's no guarantee that it'll actually provide any real benefit to users, because I don't think it will ever be 100% accurate. That's another thing. So there aren't any AIs out there that are 100% accurate, on a massive, global scale. There aren't any. Let's just be real. Even things like, ChatGPT or whatnot, these very commonly used mainstream AIs are still only in the 70s for accuracy wise, 70%, 80% maybe. So that's the thing. So it's really hard to say that blockchain and AI can mix together in a real-time scenario, but but it's definite to say that you can integrate AI technology into creating some sort of a safety net for holders, which is what we're doing. So creating a safety net for holders before they buy a token, or if they're holding a token, is basically getting as much information about a token as possible before purchasing or while you're holding. And getting that information can be tricky, but with an AI, so getting the information can be tricky, and also then processing that information, internally and saying, is this safe based on the information I know, can also be tricky. So if an AI can help you with that, then you're going to have a bit of an assistance in it, and it'll definitely help you secure a better position in your portfolio. So how do we differentiate ourselves from other projects in blockchain and AI? That's another question that you asked. I really like it. So we did look at a lot of the auditing tools out there, and it seems as though they've just been developing on the fly based on what, well, a lot of them based their developments on community needs. Of course, there's no denying that, but a lot of them are just creating their own solutions for problems that might not exactly be there. And so what we've done is we've actually asked our community entirely what they want to see, and what they want to see is what we want to bring into the app. And there's been quite a consensus on what people want to see in these auditing tools. Another thing is that, I don't think there are any auditing tools that incorporate some form of AI to, well, maybe there are, but there aren't any that are mainstream, in my opinion, that incorporate some sort of AI in order to get some kind of token information, whether it be on price or whether it be on safety. So we do think that that's going to be a feature that people will come to use. Even if it doesn't benefit them, I think people will still try it out. Like, hey, this AI is telling you that this token is going to go up or down in the next 24 hours. Don't you want to know what it says or whatever about the token? So people will use it, even if it doesn't benefit them. They're still going to use it, and that's kind of the beauty of mass adoption. So it's mainly, mass adoption doesn't just start with everybody needs this product. People try out the product, and those who need it stick with it, and those who don't at least talk about it in some sense. And so that's kind of the goal of us. We do think that having a price prediction is important. A lot of people will use it, and if it's effective and accurate for people, then that's even better. So that's kind of what differentiates us a little bit, is that we do have a heavy emphasis on AI with every development that we actually bring into the space.
Yeah, so you talked a lot about high level insight into cryptocurrencies and NFTs, and you said the NFT market is something that you are not focusing right now. But let's talk about the insights that are insight about cryptocurrencies. So what kind of metrics are you focusing on right now? What kind of metrics users can get from your application? And if you can showcase some of the ways in which those metrics can be used, so we can get the better idea of the product.
Yeah, so I'll actually, while I'm here, I'll just bring up exactly what our app is returning at this moment in time. Let me just get it for you here. So there's quite a long list of metrics. That's why I need to bring it up. It's not just like 2 or 3 things. So 1 second, I'll just get it up here. I just lost it. 1 sec. Yeah. So just paste in contract address. And yeah, so it starts off with all the basic token information. So that would be your name, supply, your symbol, all those things. Those aren't really metrics. They're not really something that we can evaluate a contract safety on. So to give a bit of insight into what actually can be evaluated for safety is effectively we have, has the token been verified? That's obviously a number one, that's like default thing to check. Has it got more than 1 holder? Has it got more than 5 holders? These are also metrics that basically, if you have a contract with just 1 holder who holds a ton of the supply, it's maybe not so useful. Not such a good idea to buy that particular token. Can the owner mint? That's another thing. So if the owner can mint a token, then obviously they can easily scam you by minting as many as they can, as many as they want in behind the scenes, and then selling on you. So can the owner burn is another thing. So that's not particularly a metric for checking if the contract is safe or not. But we don't evaluate that effectively on our end. Do they have a sell tax or a buy tax, and is it less than 2% is another metric. So effectively, in our case, if a token tax is less than 2%, then it's probably okay to buy, provided that it's not modifiable above 5%, and that still is a little bit shaky. So we do check for max taxes. So anything above 5% is already flagged as you probably shouldn't buy this, because you're not going to get your full token value, and it's a little bit too much. If the tax is modifiable way beyond or without a limit, then that's obviously a red flag. You don't want to buy that token whatsoever, because that's literally like, how do I say it? It's the benchmark, or not the benchmark. It's basically a signifier of a honeypot. So can the owner disable the transfer? That's also a red flag that we want to check for. Blacklist, is the blacklist available or whitelist available for different metrics, i.e. changing the tax, not having a tax on a particular token, trading whitelist, trading blacklist. We check these things, and if they exist, then your token gets flagged, because more often than not, those things seem like they're helping you avoid getting botted or getting sniped by a bot, but in reality, they can basically blacklist everybody except for themselves and then sell on you. Same as whitelist. We do check those things internally as well with the use of AI, actually. So we also check for a maximum transaction of higher than 1%. So you don't want to have max transaction a little bit lower than 1%. If your max transaction too high, it won't get flagged as a bad thing, but it's just something that we check for and let you know. Is there a whitelist on the max transaction? So can somebody buy more than others? That's kind of an anti-whale thing. If a project has that, then it's kind of it just shows that the team is probably going to whitelist themselves for max transaction. It's mainly used for anti-whale. Is there a max tax enabled is another thing that checks. So basically, as I mentioned earlier, can it be enabled or disabled on the fly? Is the contractor renounced? This is another thing. This is highly requested from the community. Everybody wants to know, so that we check that. Obviously, these are basic metrics that everybody wants to know, and you've probably seen other dApps provide this information, so it's nothing new. As well as, is LP locked? So we check on all the lockers. We actually use the DexTools API for this particular metric because it gets all the locked token contracts out there that you can lock tokens in, and it just queries the token against that to see if there has been a lock. So we do check for that as well. If tokens haven't been locked, it gets immediately flagged. There's no exception. So if it has been locked, then it gives it a little bit of a, it gives it a bit of a green flag. Have the team tokens been locked? So we check for that as well. Is there an elastic supply? So elastic supply tokens can be a little bit tricky, because sometimes they have whitelists on who gets to change their. So basically, when you change the supply, it sometimes sometimes has a whitelist, so people can actually give themselves more than other people. So that's obviously another red flag. Hidden fees on transfer, we check for that. Anti-bot as well. Wash trading detected. These things are all we check. These things are all things that we check internally, and then give the person information on all of those metrics. So it is quite comprehensive. It's quite a long list, but I feel like people will benefit from knowing all of these things on the fly. And I know there are other places that provide this information, but as far as I'm aware, there are no other places out there that provide price predictions and also any form of AI integration into getting this information. So yeah, that's basically the metrics that we evaluate a token on.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that detailed answer. Actually, while you were saying that answer, I think I learned a lot about tokenomics and what kind of factors there can be. I didn't even think about all these factors whenever, there is some sort of trading or buying that I'm doing. So yeah, thank you so much for that detailed answer. Now I want to move. Now I want to move into the price prediction side. So you said you have a algorithm for price prediction. So can you share a basic methodology behind that algorithm? Explain me like I'm a 5-year-old, and how accurate has it been in internal testing, or wherever you have seen it?
Okay, yeah, that's a really good question. And once again, so nice one there. So the methodology behind the price prediction feature, effectively, we started off, so I'm actually an AI developer as well. So I've been doing this for a couple of years now. So just building it for various forms of AIs and working mainly with audio wave files, so audio prediction. But it all translates across, the experience translates across. Effectively, what we started off with was something called an LSTM model. So anyone here who's ever built an AI knows that's a long short-term memory model, and they work best with time series data, which is precisely what blockchain data is. So it's time series information. Now, the issue with the LSTM is that, effectively, you have to pass it a certain range. So that's basically the same range has to be passed to it every single time, and the volume of token price can be different. So if, say, there's only been 3 transactions in the last hour or whatever, you can't pass that to a model that expects 5 transactions. So, well, you can, there are ways around it, but it was no real benefit to go with such a complicated model for the data that we were trying to create. This was with, we initially started this with Seafarer as well. This is the NFT AI. Effectively, we took floor price over time, volume, and volume over time. We amalgamated it into one coefficient that the model trained from. That coefficient was in the form of an array. So this all sounds really technical and kind of boring for a lot of people, but basically it took a bunch of data, mixed it all together, told the AI, remember what this does, and then did it with thousands of different data samples. And then effectively, at the end of the day, the AI for the LSTM, whether I did it wrong or did it poorly, but it was only about 64% accurate, which wasn't exactly the best accuracy that I could possibly get from it, given the amount of time spent developing and working around these little LSTM specific features. So what I did was I created a random forest classifier. It's a machine learning technique that effectively it works a lot better, very similarly to any other AI. Effectively, it takes time series data and it can create a coefficient of any size, and then it can just basically run it through an algorithm, and it'll give you back an answer. So with that particular algorithm, we got 78% accuracy on tokens that were in the top 10 by trading volume. So it took a lot of data samples to get those values. So for tokens that were less, it was around 71%. So that weren't in the top 10. So it wasn't great, but it was still quite good. So basically 7 out of 10 times it would give an accurate answer. So we think that's pretty decent for a beta launch. And in fact, I think on most corporates global scales, that is pretty okay. So basically, to translate that to the ERC20 AI, it's quite a similar process. Instead of floor price, you use current price. So that'll be what the trading price is. Volume doesn't change. It's still volume over X period of time. And effectively, I haven't actually ran the AI model on the ERC20 shitcoin app in the last week, but I'm assuming that the metrics, given that the data samples are the exact same size, the percentage of accuracy should be within the same range, 70 to 80% accurate. Given that I'm using the exact same methodology for getting that evaluation, so random forest classifier. But yeah, sounds like a bunch of boring jargon, but that's exactly how it works. It's basically the beta version of it. I think you just muted everyone. So we don't want to make a massive AI infrastructure just for a beta release. Like, we want to see if people are going to be using that feature. We do believe that people will be using it quite often and pretty much every single time that it's going to be available. But to scale it up, we're going to have to wait to see those user metrics, and we'll definitely keep the community posted on what we find out.
My bad for muting everyone. I just pressed the button by mistake. So that's really exciting, and 7 out of 10 is a pretty good number. I think 6 out of 10 is a pretty good number in long term, and you can use it in lots of good ways and do lots of good things with it. Now, I saw on your website that you have an API as well. Now, who is that API for, and what is the thinking behind having that API?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it basically was the idea of having an API is it's a product we can sell. So we'll have a free version, and then we'll have a API key that projects can buy or developers can buy from us for a subscription or whatever else it may be. The second idea was that it's actually a great way of partnering with different projects. So one of the partners that we were in talks with last week, potential partners, are actually quite a large project. Let's say they have $3.9 million in monthly revenue, and effectively, to create the most effective partnership between us and them, we would provide them with a service that they can plug into their features, into their front end and back end, and then spit that out to their users. And the best way to do that is to sell them an API. Not even sell, we probably just give them to them for free. And so the API would work fairly simply. It would take all of the functionality that we have on our website. It would package it up into one place, and then anyone who has access to the API link can actually get all the functionality and put it on their website. So basically, that's all an API normally is. It's just taking your your functionality that you've built over X amount of time and just packaging it up in one place where other people can use it. So that's a great way of partnering with people, specifically people that are also in the same space that want to kind of provide more features to their users and don't have the time or resources to build those features up. So what you can do is you can just partner with them and say, hey, you want to integrate our APIs, go ahead, you can get your users on board. And effectively that brings users to both them and to us. So that's the idea behind the API. And effectively, any functionality that we offer, specifically the token audit, that's going to be the first part of the API. Later on, we're going to have a price prediction with the same API, with the same API link, but different route, of course, that we're going to package up and we're going to give away to either developers or to other projects that want to partner with us. So that's kind of the reason why we have it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your answer. I actually have a follow-up question to that. So let's say you are giving someone your API for free. How does that help? How does that make that relationship a win-win situation for SEAGEN? And I mean, obviously that company is getting something very valuable. So how does it make it a good situation for CGen if you are giving them for free? Like, are you getting more data to build your AI, or just uh, increase the accuracy of your price prediction model? How does it work?
Yeah, great question. Once again, so obviously when we package it up for free, it won't be free for obviously the maximum API endpoints that you can get. It'll actually be free for the baseline endpoints. So realistically speaking, sometimes you have to kind of give up making money in order to create partnerships or to create, let's say, advertisement, get eyes on your project. So it's not all about making money. Sometimes it's about establishing these connections that are going to be lifelong and be eternally beneficial for everybody. So having it as free actually kind of attracts partners a bit more than saying, hey, we'll partner up with you, but you got to pay X amount of time because we can't afford to give you this. So we'll cover the costs for a partnership, but only for obviously partnerships that are clearly mutually beneficial. So the partnership in question that I was mentioning earlier, so the potential partners, I won't give you their names right now because it is kind of a non-disclosure thing at the minute. But effectively, they have a ton of users. They have millions in revenue every month, and that's going through their DApp. On top of that, they have a Telegram bot. That Telegram bot gets eyes on it every single day by thousands of people. And if we could package our API into their little Telegram notification, what we could do is we could get eyes on us directly through their own channels. And that will be beneficial for us because it will increase our user base, increase the attractiveness of our project, and effectively increase our subscriptions overall. So we do think that giving it out for free, covering the minor costs of having it out for free on our own, and then eventually with the intention of getting users to subscribe to us from those, I suppose, free editions, would be a net profit for us, and a net profit for the community too, because there'll be more eyes, more people in the community, more people discussing things, more people mutually interested in something like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's like an ideal growth hacking strategy, right? It's like a textbook growth hacking strategy.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, that's a for sure way to win, in this chaotic Web3 world. So, thank you so much for being so transparent, and even sharing things like that as well. We really appreciate it as community and as partners. Now, we have talked about technology, we have talked about price prediction, we have talked about insights and data points and everything. Uh, what is the role of the siege and cryptocurrency in all of this, and what are its use cases in the ecosystem?
Yeah, great question once again. So SEAGEN is kind of let's say it's the value index for what we build. And that's coupled with the fact that it's going to be the access token for the DApp. We think that the more we build, the more value we can provide for SEAGEN as a token. So give a bit of a rundown. It's only been out for about 6 days, 7 days now actually today. Sorry. And the token has done reasonably well. It's held its price up. People are quite bullish on what we're trying to build, and what we're building is actually quite, it's probably the largest scale project that I've ever built in Web3 specifically. And do believe that it will win the hearts and minds of the community, regardless of the first iteration or not, or whether or not they like the first iteration. I think people will enjoy using the DApp. I feel like it'll be eternally beneficial for them. But to get access to it, you're gonna have to hold some SEAGEN, and there will be a minimum threshold with tiered threshold. So there will be a minimum package that you pay. You hold X amount of SEAGEN. Still haven't decided on how many it's going to be, but it will be affordable in order to get access to the DApp. The next tier up will be able to get access to more premium features, and we already have an alpha group that we give to SEAGEN holders. So that's kind of our first community incentive. So alpha group, basically we give insights into what we're building, and give information on the project before the actual community see it. So that's only accessible to token holders of 100,000 SEAGEN or up. On top of that, so SEAGEN itself is just kind of the access token. It's the ecosystem token. You're going to want to hold it if you want to use our dApps, and get discounts, and also use them for with lifetime access. It's also our negotiation token in some sense. So obviously, when we list with different centralized exchanges or list with different partners, we kind of have to have, some SEAGEN and liquidity to give up to them, and sometimes we don't have the marketing funds to pay for certain fees, so we just allocate that from SEAGEN. So obviously not for dumping or whatever, but actually just for liquidity for that particular place. On top of that, SEAGEN benefits users by allowing them access to the DApp. That's effectively what it is. I'm not going to tell you that it's the next Bitcoin. I'm not going to tell you any of that crap. It's literally, that's what it does. It gives you access to the DApp. It's the index for the entire project's value. On top of that as well, we don't have any taxes. We don't have any burns. We don't have anything like that. When we do open up the floor for subscriptions, we actually plan to allow people to deposit some SEAGEN for lifetime credits. Or they're not lifetime credits. They are lifetime unless you use them. And those credits get acquired from SEAGEN. You deposit them to our DApp. We burn half, and the other half goes back to the community or goes to the team or whatever else it may be. We still have to allocate the numbers. It's definitely going to be half or more than half. So that's kind of what SEAGEN is. It's got no tricky meme tokenomics. It's got no taxes, no crap like that. It's literally just an access token, and holding it basically gives you access to everything that we build, and it gives you discounted access to all of the features plus alpha information. Definitely would be better off being in our community as a SEAGEN holder than a non-holder, and right now it's a decent price, so would recommend anyone who's listening to pick it up if you're interested. But yeah, that's basically SEAGEN. Sorry for rambling on again.
Yeah, I mean, no worries. You are being transparent, and it's awesome hearing from someone who has put in so much work, so much effort into building a technology. We love that you are so passionate about what you are building. That's like one of the best qualities of the founders. So thank you so much. Now, you have shared about partnerships, and you have shared about some future products, but is there anything else you want to share with the community? Like, any future updates on any long-term roadmap, or any long-term, vision that you want to share with us?
Yeah, so effectively, I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen next year. I'm not going to tell you our roadmap for 2024, 2025. I don't think anybody can tell you that with 100% transparency and honesty, because nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows at all. But I will tell you what we do plan on doing this month and next month. So this month, I don't know if it's still this month, but next Wednesday, we are going to be launching the Swamp into beta. So it's going to be live for users to be able to try out. The Swamp beta features can be seen on our Git book. It's all transparent. It's all there. On top of that, we plan to start finalizing the partnerships that we've been in talks with for the last few weeks. So the main criteria for our partners is actually basically have the product live so we can see it, test it out, to see how we can integrate it on our end. And that's what I've been rushing with my with my colleague Adam to build. And when I say rushing, I mean not exactly rushing, because we do want to make it right. We don't want to make it broken on the first iteration. So it is quite secure. It's safe. It's fairly optimized as well. So that's kind of what we've been doing the last while, but we've been doing it at a steadily quick pace. So we plan to release that on Wednesday around 6 p.m. That's a little bit of alpha for anyone who's on the call. So, it will eternally be more beneficial for somebody who's a SEAGEN holder to use the DApp. But I would say you can try it out on Wednesday as a regular user. There's no actual, there won't be an initial fee or subscription tier structure at all for this. So you can just try it out. And on top of that, we do have to finalize a few partnerships. They are waiting, as I said. We do plan on doing more AMAs and Twitter spaces like this. I actually quite enjoy doing AMAs, especially on video and things like that. So once we have the product released, we'll be able to do more and discuss more on what we see as a vision for it and how it works. Obviously, partnering with you guys was, obviously a great thing. We really enjoy working with you. Real pleasure. And but we do plan to find more and more partners and establish ourselves as a player in this space with a well-connected, I suppose, network of people who are all like-minded and want to grow and thrive as projects in space. So that's kind of our plan, and that's our plan for till the end of this year. We do want to treat this as less of a token project and more of a business as well. So there's none of this sort of, I'm not going to tell you all of this like meme roadmap stuff, like, oh, we're going to be listed on Binance on January and we're going to be listed on Kraken in February. Like, that's a load of crap. We're going to treat this as an actual business. So we develop as we go along and we meet community needs first and foremost. We don't want to say that we're going to have another DApp coming out in December and knowing that that's not feasible. We're going to meet community needs. So whatever we build will actually be queried by and, run by the community first. So make sure you guys need this or not. We don't want to build something and be a waste of time. So that's kind of how we're working at the minute, treating it more like a business. By the way, we are registered as a business in Ireland. So under the name NovaBlocks, I believe NovaBlocks Holdings actually. So we're actually registered as a business as well, just in case anyone is wondering. Yeah, that's kind of our vision for the rest of the year. I'm not going to tell you what happens next year because nobody knows, but don't worry about it. We're going to be still around in the space and do kind of think there will be a bit of a bull run next year. It's going to start off again. I mean, the 4-year cycle, and we do plan on being more established in the space when the time comes to that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I have one final question for you before we see if we have any questions from the audience. So the question is, let's say I'm a new community member that has joined this, that has learned about SEAGEN from this Twitter Spaces. What are some of the first actions that you recommend, that community member do? What can we go and check out? What, where can we learn more? What kind of communities we can join, and yeah, things like that. So please go ahead.
Well, that's I would say first things first is read up about us and read up about our history as a project. So we have, a very long list of, I suppose it's like a timeline, chronological timeline of how our developments have gone and how we've, developed as a project on our Twitter and on our Telegram. And you can check out our Git book as well, which we released actually earlier this week. And there's a lot of information there. I would say do your research first, and if you see potential in it, then you can pick up some SEAGEN as well. It'll ultimately benefit you. But I would say do your research on us and do some research on the product that we're building first and foremost. That's my best advice for anyone who ever asks a question like this about any project. So just do some research on us. The first action is join our Telegram, follow us on Twitter. We are always fairly active on Telegram. So, if any questions come up, we will answer them. They are, it's quite a vibrant community as well. We have some really loyal guys there. And especially because, last time we released the DApp in beta and it was the NFT utility DApp, and there wasn't very much demand for getting it looking better, or even because nobody's really into NFTs like they used to be. So that's why. But so what we did was we focused mainly on the token, and effectively we did do 22x 7 days after launch, and we did push all our marketing efforts into it. Funnily enough, actually, I'll give a bit of a story for everyone who's on this call right now. Actually, this is quite funny. So we originally were called Captain Cook. As I said, we had a meme project, and we decided to take ourselves a little bit more seriously by calling ourselves SEAGEN, which is a play on the word degen with an oceanic theme, basically. So like SEAGEN, we're at sea. You know what I'm saying? But we actually had a meme token, and after changing our name to SEAGEN, we registered our domain to seagen.app. And credits to Crisps for this one. Crisp is actually on the call right now. He's another one of our core team members. We actually got an email from, it was issued by GoDaddy, but it was originally from the official SEAGEN.com. And SEAGEN.com, they actually said that we could be infringing on a trademark. So my reaction was, oh crap, I gotta check this out. So it turns out in Ireland, they don't have a trademark for the word SEAGEN. In fact, nobody does. So we were perfectly fine to trade here under the name SEAGEN as a play on the word SEAGEN, or degen, sorry. But Crisps had this amazing idea to effectively spam on Twitter the actual SEAGEN.com with, with sort of I guess, making fun of them in some sense for being afraid or intimidated by our project. And I'm not sure how much of this came from that, but not long after that, the amount of buys that came in to our project was absolutely insane. Like thousands of dollars. So it was a really good marketing tactic. So I will say credit to Crisps for that one. He was at the forefront of that idea. Very talented guy. I'm very, very happy to be working with him. But that's just a little bit of story on SEAGEN and how we came about and kind of how we managed to capitalize on a massive billion-dollar organization sending us an email saying we could be infringing on them, which we thought was a bit of a threat in some sense, and we capitalized on it. And effectively, the community reaped the rewards of that. So we'll say, we could even do that again, but we do take opportunities as they come, and we don't really skip out on them, which is it has been internally beneficial for our community members. I mean, that time we did 22x for the price. So some guys came out at the end of the day, like three days in, they were up 10, 15 grand from like a 200 euros investment, which is just crazy. So we're quite happy that we managed to achieve that for them. And we do plan to have many more moments like that in the future, fully confident that we will. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that great story. It was so fun speaking with you, and thank you for being so transparent and being so honest with us on the spaces. We love the passion that you bring in the Web3 community as a founder and as a leader in blockchain and AI. Thank you so much for joining the spaces today. Yeah.
Yeah, cheers. So no, I appreciate it. Look, it's been quite a journey for SEAGEN, and we do hope to have a much bigger story to tell, a much longer story to tell in the near future too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining the spaces. If you are on if you are listening on Twitter or later on YouTube, thank you for listening to the spaces. We will see you next week. We do this every week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Cheers. Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.
A good day.